season. From Peoria Christian School in Peoria, Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is proud to present a inter-county conference matchup as the small schools across Central Illinois wrap up the season. Alongside John Camosa, I am Larry Larson. And John, there's a lot at stake tonight, even though the season is wrapping up for Peoria Christian tonight, and ROWVA Williamsfield only has one game left. There's going to be a lot of emotion tonight. Daniel Duncan playing his final game as a Charger, and he's had a truly illustrious career.
Yeah, and we talked with PCS coach Jason Persinger right before the game. He said he's going to be a little bit emotional tonight with Daniel Duncan departing from this team after he graduates this year, but it's kind of been the backbone for this team that got him to a sectional championship last year. Was just short in a loss to Athens, but he's really been that veteran leader that Peoria Christian needed this season.
Certainly, and we look at this Peoria Christian squad. They could be ranked in 1A. They are that good, but they've played very stiff competition. Looking at their schedule, they played IVC, Morton, Dunlap, a few Middle Illini schools. Last year they played PND. So Jason Persinger and company not shying away from good competition. And looking on the other side of things, for ROWVA Williamsfield, they enter this one at 4-9 in this contest, under head coach Bob Anderson in his 42nd season for the Cougars. As we are underway, he said this season's been kind of a disappointment, a little up and down.
Yeah, he said a lot of things, still learning some things, and guys are trying to figure it all out. And I think tonight's a good way to close. You get a tough test, and as it's what you'd want, going into next year, getting as much experience for your guys as you can. But I think we're going to hear Daniel Duncan's name a lot.
And there is Daniel Duncan cashing in from the right corner to get the Chargers on the board. A nice response to the two from Carson Malik on the other end. Cougars trying to set up the offense. It's Duncan on Malik. Now to Parker Hopping, the sophomore up top. Finds White, and his fader is off. Here's Duncan running in transition. The pull-up from 15. It's hauled in by Malik.
He's so good at doing that too, Duncan, corralling those rebounds and pushing it transition. He's got a good frame on him, 6'3" guard, and smooth stroke as a lefty.
Nice find down low as Haggerty cashes in the two. How about the Cougars with the early 4-3 lead?
And, like we said, last game of the year, you're going to see a little intensity out of them. Obviously want to try to make a statement here on the road tonight.
Duncan's trying to make a statement from deep as he's got all of the Chargers 6 points so far.
I believe with that point, moved him up to fourth.
Yes, indeed. He moves into the top 5 in school scoring all time. One of the all-time leaders here at Peoria Christian. He passed 1,000 points a few weeks ago. 3 is airballed by Riker. And the Cougars will have an opportunity to strike even.
Another player to watch tonight for the Chargers, 6'7" forward, number 22 down there, Wes Hunt. Really good baseball player, too, on the mound for the Chargers.
Big man in the middle. He's going to get some college looks for both sports. Another look inside. It's Haggerty off the glass for 2.
ROWVA Williamsfield not going away early.
No, and they certainly won't. And, John, that's what you get with a very experienced head coach in Bob Anderson.
Yeah, it's incredible what he's done there, and been there for 42 seasons now, and even made the transition after ROWVA and Williamsfield jointed and became one.
Duncan, the one-handed pass, 3 on the way, is down for Johnson. His first 3 points, and the Chargers are making it rain from deep early.
That's one thing Peoria Christian very good at. Not going to shy away from the 3 tonight. I think you'll see a lot of those fall.
Cougars working it around the arc. Hunt tried to come out with the steal, comes up empty. The feed inside, and the off-balance shot is no good for Graham White. Now the Chargers go in transition. Open 3 in the corner by Brickinger is no good, but another opportunity. It's Duncan with the shot. And the Chargers can't capitalize on the second chance opportunity.
If ROWVA likes to shoot the 3 too, but they're going to need all the scoring they can get, keep up with the Chargers here. But right now, it's a little closer than we expected right out the gate.
Certainly is. And you can always get that with a well-coached team, John, especially with Bob Anderson. He's taken ROWVA Williamsfield to a state tournament, so he knows what it takes to beat a good team. As we head to our first mask timeout with the Chargers in front 9-6. But like you said, John, the Cougars sticking right with them.
Yeah, and we asked him before the game too. What's your strategy for containing Daniel Duncan? He said, well, he hadn't seen him play yet this year. He knows he's really good, but they said they might throw a double at him or stick their best guy on him. Right now, Duncan's got some points, but I think ROWVA's hanging around on the defensive end.
They certainly are. Larry Larson, John Camosa, Francisco Alonso in with you tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. As you hear the announcement.
Moved past Jay Brewer to be in the top 5 scoring career for Peoria Christian.
PA announcer announcing Daniel Duncan's accomplishment, moving into the top 5 all-time in school history. So history already completed tonight, and we've only seen less than 4 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, and anytime you can, add your name to that list, you got Jay Brewer, Micah Lavender, who's, Peoria Christian got to state under Fred Fox back in '04. Dakota Bennington, all-time leading scorer. So joins a lot of good company there.
Cougars looking to spoil the party. Bounce pass into Hopping, and he turns it over. Brigner in transition, the Euro step, scoop shot, and in.
Really nice take there. Finishing it.
Boy, that was pretty. How do the Cougars respond? The charge and the kick for Malik, and the mid-range is pure.
Mid-range is working right now for ROWVA.
All the points have been scored by Haggerty and Malik for the Cougars. And the Chargers are a little more balanced, but they turn it over there.
And this ROWVA team likes to push it in transition when it can get that opening.
Dylan Tucker feeds the post to White, and it's ripped away. Duncan weaving through traffic into the lane for 2.
That's what really separates him as one of the better players in the area, small school level. How smooth that take was in transition, but he can do that. I think we'll see a lot of that.
And John, that's something that comes with so much experience. He's been playing varsity for 3 years. Jason Persinger told us he's probably the only player in school history to never lose a game in a regional. That goes to show you how good Duncan is, and he's played in the big games, so he looks very smooth in these late regular season games.
Certainly does. And
here he comes, and he throws it down. Daniel Duncan, the one-handed slam.
We've seen a lot of those on the highlights this year. Definitely no stranger to soaring above the rim, but Larry, we were talking the other day about that regional championship game last season when they played Elmwood.
Boy, that was a fun one.
Daniel Duncan really showed his experience in that game.
And here we go again, part 2. Daniel Duncan has liftoff.
I felt like we'd see a couple of those tonight, but showing them early in the fourth quarter, or I mean in the first quarter, I should say. But yeah, when he gets on a break, you'll see a lot of those.
Duncan with 12 points in this first quarter. Showing us why he's getting some Division II looks, likely considering prep school next year. Chargers in transition again. Brigner avoids the charge, but can't finish.
Tough take there. Good defense by ROWVA on the other end. And talked about something Bobby Anderson prides his teams on, defense. Even if they're not producing offense that year, still wants to play a hard defense.
Hopping between the circles. Tried to get the inside look, and it's going to be a kick ball on Wes Hunt. So it stays here. Sub Adam Pepper heads in, the 6'3" sophomore forward, averaging 3.5 points per game. Part of the youth movement for this Chargers program as Duncan heads to the bench. That's one thing about Duncan that Persinger told us before the game, John, was he's invested in the next chapter of this program, and certainly there are big shoes to fill, but Duncan is making sure they will be filled, as there is Adam Pepper scoring off the glass.
Adam Pepper, brother of Will Pepper, who was a really good player here a few years back for Peoria Christian, one of their standouts. And talked about Duncan being invested in this team, and it bodes well for next year. A lot of size on this Peoria Christian roster, underclassmen.
Here's Adam Cole, one of the subs off the bench, and Tucker can't get the tray to go. Pepper behind him, open 3, rattles out. But the putback by Pepper, no good. Here's a third chance opportunity for Hunt, and it couldn't be easier for the big fella. Those are his first 2 points.
That's what really separates Hunt in this inter-county conference. You don't have a lot of size, and definitely showing it right now down low.
So the Chargers up by 2 touchdowns. For playing football, the 3 from way downtown gets tangled up in the wires above the rim as Peyton Tilson checks in. 6'2" senior, averaging 2.5 points per game. The Chargers will have the opportunity to hold for the final shot if they so please.
A good first quarter for Peoria Christian. Coach Persinger, too, said a lot of different guys on this roster can score this year, just outside of the guys you see on paper, Daniel Duncan and Wes Hunt, who make up 67% of the scoring this year.
That one's dialed up from deep by Tilson, his first 3 points, and Persinger's statement has certainly been backed up, despite Duncan scoring 12. Here's 2 on the clock for Cole, and he can't get it off in time. His layup falls, but too late. And after 1, it's Peoria Christian 24 and ROWVA Williamsfield 8.
That's definitely something you want to see, you know, closing out the year at home, making a statement right out the gate.
A big statement at that. And John, you talked to Jason Persinger earlier in the season about the complexities of not having a state tournament to play for, but at the same time the excitement of just having a season. And he told us you just got to go out there and play every game like it's a championship game. And we've seen that intensity early on.
Yeah, we have. And, you know, he did say it was a little disappointing, you know, that there wasn't that postseason. But, you know, looking up and down the schedule of what they've gotten despite there not being a postseason, you know, gives you that short and abbreviated season. And seeing some teams that you might normally not see during regular season. I even mentioned probably wouldn't schedule Morton. You get Morton on their IVC, Dunlap, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast. But they hung with IVC down to the final buzzer, you know, almost got Dunlap. So that's really good for your team to show that, especially going into next year, that they can hang with even the big schools.
Christian even played PND last year and didn't go great, but you see teams like that, and it gives you some extremely valuable experience. The charge called there on Pepper, his first, team's first. Not a lot of fouls in this one. Good defense by both sides, except perhaps on Daniel Duncan. Kind of the inevitable. He scored half of the Chargers' 24 points. On the bench right now, though, hopping, trying to feed inside to White. He gets the bucket and the foul.
Yeah, you almost, you know, both teams treat this game as a way to tune up whatever you were working on going into last season. It's that last game and just ending on the best note you can.
ROWVA Williamsfield does have one more game, and that's tomorrow against Illini Bluffs. White takes a number of dribbles, and the free throw is off. Hopefully that wasn't our fault. It's a little quiet in here. Not a big gym, so we are close to the floor tonight. Luke Straub between the rings to Tilson. Now inside to Pepper from 15. Gets the friendly roll.
And Pepper having a good showing so far. It's another player that Coach Persinger can definitely lean on next year, as well as Wes Hunt.
They've got a lot of size, and that's not something that's super customary to a 1A school. I mean, you see Roanoke Benson, they've got some size a little bit, but they are the exception generally. But anytime you get that size, that is just such a huge advantage.
Yeah, and you see it a lot more in the large school level, you know, across the Big 12 and the Mid-Illini. But when you got a guy like Wes Hunt, or, you know, even Roanoke, Luke Brayman, get that size, it definitely helps separate yourself in the low post, because there's a lot of mismatches when you're that tall.
100%. White cashes in his second consecutive bucket for the Cougars. Enter this one at 4-9, second to last game of the season for them. It's the last game of the season for Peoria Christian, working on an 8-6 record, 4-1 in the Inter-County Conference, their first season in that association. Pepper in the post, nice feed, But before we get a whistle and a block called on Dylan Tucker, his first and the team's first foul as Daniel Duncan checks in for the Chargers. So everybody look out for that kid. 13 in white.
Yeah, we've seen 2 nice dunks already, a couple threes. He, really on display early on, showing you how well balanced he is on the offensive end.
Malik in transition, jets to the right block. That couldn't have been easier, and he's got a team-high 6 points. Jason Persinger not happy with that defense there.
Gotta like what you see out of ROWVA Williamsfield earlier, Bob Anderson. They struggled a little bit this season, but keeping it close so far. Not out of it yet.
Duncan thought about the deep 3. Instead gets it to Pepper in the post. Now back to Duncan. Unselfish player. Duncan can certainly create his own shot, but distributing here, and he picks up an assist as Tilson drains it from deep.
Peoria Christian definitely locked in on that 3 ball early. Something you'd like to see if you're Jason Persinger.
What can Bob Anderson's Cougars do here? Parker hopping. Out of the right wing, Malik. Malik, one of the few returners on this squad from last year. Hopping, looking for White inside. Now it gets to him. The spin cycle, he's blocked from behind by Pepper. And a jump ball is called. Possession will stay with ROWVA Williamsfield. Not quite at our mask timeout yet, but we will get there at the next dead ball.
Try to see what ROWVA can do on this possession here. Obviously, they want to stay in it as close as they can.
White can't get the circus shot to go. And there you see the reach of the 6'7" Hunt. Brigner passed up the 3. And now Duncan will try it. Too strong. The put back for 2 by number 22.
Yeah, when Hunt gets set down there, it's really tough. He's
good luck.
Disruption on the defensive end for opposing teams, and can't do much about rebounding over him on the defensive end if you're ROWVA.
Haggerty knocks down the baseline, Jay. Duncan thought about the same. And now Hunt with the sweet finger roll. He's up to 6 points. And, John, after a somewhat slow start in the scoring column, he's heated up.
Yeah, they're definitely clicking. And when you get Hunt involved, and especially Duncan, talked about making up that high of a percentage of their points. Those 2 guys are on, like you said, good luck.
Hopping, looking for White in the post. Brigner thought about jumping the passing lanes, and Haggerty couldn't hang on to it there, and that brings us to our masked timeout here in this second quarter. It's a inter-county conference matchup, final game of the season for Peoria Christian, second to last game for ROWVA Williamsfield. In a season with no state series. But don't worry, Clutch Sports Media's coverage continues tomorrow as we will bring you 2 Big 12 boys tournament games in Normal. First we'll bring you Peoria High against Bloomington, followed by Normal West against Champaign Centennial. Should be 2 very good games in the opening round of that tournament.
Certainly it should, and we looked onto that tournament. You'd think Notre Dame would be the hands-down favorite, but there's a lot of teams that are really hitting their peak. It's tough to really say who could run away with that one.
Notre Dame is not unbeatable, as we've seen on ClutchSportsIL.com. Peoria High defeating them on their home floor, and we'll see if the Irish, who only have that 1 loss, can run away with the only title they will play for this year. They will play on Thursday afternoon as they get a first-round bye as the 1 seed. And they will play the winner of that Normal West Champaign Centennial game.
Normal West, another team that's shown some good things this year. And like you said, any given night, anybody's game. But the way Noah Reynolds right now is playing and that Notre Dame defense, it's going to be tough to stop them.
It's tough to stop this guy, Daniel Duncan. His 3 is off. And the Cougars will have a chance to strike first out of the mask timeout. Haggerty. Rebound tipped around. How about the fake from White? Got everybody flying, but he can't capitalize. Brigner Out across the timeline. Hunt back to Brigner. And he is a little off. But Hunt right there. Duncan through a little bit of contact. Finishes for 2. Those are his first 2 points of the second quarter. He's got 14.
Good cleanup there from Duncan in the post. We've seen him more down low getting his scoring, struggling a little bit outside from beyond the arc after hitting that first 3. But he's definitely making up for it with his ability to drive to the basket.
Haggerty, the bounce pass to Isaac Gonzalez, just checked into the game, one of the bigger players for either side. Back to White, bodies up the 6'7" Hunt, and he's fouled. And that's the advantage of being the smaller man on a size mismatch.
And they're going to want to, battle down there and not back down to the challenge, but seen a couple scrums for a loose ball down there, so ROWVA's trying to hang tough in the post, even though that's a tall task to ask.
Jim goes dead silent on the free throw.
I think we're used to that this year.
Yeah, we are, and this one might be the quietest yet. You made a comment about it during the sophomore game that it was eerily quiet.
Certainly was, and I think that might be the only people we hear right now if we talk during this free throw.
White knocks them both down, so he probably didn't hear the broadcasters there. White has 6 points, all coming in this second quarter. Davette Fisher worked around the arc, and it's picked off before it gets to Hunt. Haggerty dribbles with his head up, slows it down. He's going to penetrate the teardropper. Can't get the friendly roll. Now Duncan, the skip pass ahead. Riker cashes in.
Really nice pass there from Duncan. Great court vision. Finds him in transition.
Fadeaway 3 is not even close by Sechrist. And Duncan, the lob to Hunt, and he can't finish. Boy, that would have been exciting. And the pass is knocked away by Malik. But, John, I get the feeling that that's not going to be the last time we see a play like that from the Chargers tonight.
No, as quick as they're getting back in transition, all it takes is beating that one man, or it might even be somebody there. You never know as high as they can get up and soar. But that one definitely made the highlight reel had that gone in.
Of course, stay tuned to Clutch Sports IL on Twitter and our Instagram page for the highlights in this one, and Wes Hunt certainly will be on them as he's up to 8 points now. Carson Miller thought about the 3. Now it's Haggerty. Sechrist back into the corner for Miller. 6-foot senior. Feeds into the post Gonzalez. Nice move and a nice bucket by Malik.
Carson Malik scores for the Cougars.
ROWVA finding a lot of their production inside when they can get open.
15-on-15 crime there as Sechrist comes away with the steal from Riker. And a foul's called on the floor on Dave Fisher. Other than that, though, John, we've seen a very free-flowing game. Both teams kind of running it in transition. Not a lot of fouls. 5 on Peoria Christian, just 1 on RW. As we get a whistle there, and Fisher picks up his second consecutive whistle.
Like you said, pretty clean game. Good defense on both sides as far as not getting their hands in there and fouling. I think this kind of plays to Peoria Christian's advantage. They like this steady flow and playing in transition.
Haggerty knocks in the first. He's got 7 points with the opportunity to get to 8. And he does. So it's Malik with 8, Haggerty with 8, and White with 6 for the Cougars. Just 3 players scoring. Whereas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players have scored for the Chargers as Hunt hits the deck hard. That one's got to hurt.
Hard fall there, yeah, definitely looked like it hurt a bit, but good to see him pop right back up. But
oof, that's like when you go to sit down in your chair, but there's no chair there.
And as you said, as quiet as it is, we heard that one up here.
Boy, did we ever. Duncan takes the tray and rattles it in.
sure he wants to find his flow behind the arc. That's a good start.
He's getting there. He's got 17. And the response is off by Gonzalez as we're under 30 seconds to go in the first half. Look inside for Hunt. Can't cash in. Second chance, you bet. He's got double figures.
Hunt does a great job of just cleaning up his own boards. Seeing that a lot last year and seeing that this season as well.
Hunt with 8 double-doubles this season. Well on his way tonight. Already got 10 points. Wouldn't be shocked if he's somewhere near 8 rebounds. That time, Haggerty tickles the twine. He's got 11 points. Duncan with 3. Duncan with 2, and he cashes in the 2. What a first half for the Chargers, and Daniel Duncan, as the 6'3" senior guard, now a top 5 scorer in school history, puts up 19 points. And the Chargers are up big at the halftime break.
And Daniel Duncan wanting to close out the senior season on a good note, and well, that's the start if you want to do that.
Boy, is it ever. Larry Larson, John Camosa in with you. Thanks for joining us. It's the season finale for Peoria Christian. A very talented group coached by head coach Jason Persinger. We enjoyed watching them last year in the regional title game they participated in. John, you were in the building for that one. We were as well on ClutchSportsIL.com. An exciting game, and Peoria Christian's played a lot of exciting games over these last few years, and largely thanks in part to Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan certainly been that veteran leader that they needed, and you know, going back to last year, Peoria Christian went on that run, just one game short of reaching that super sectional after a tough loss to Athens, but they were really peaking last year, and I think that carried over into this year, and we could see, you know, out of those 6 losses, a lot of those coming to big schools, but you know, had we had a postseason, this would be a team that would be fun to watch.
Certainly would be. You know, the Chargers, IVC is another team that comes to mind in the Class 2A. They are playing Olympia tonight to wrap up their season. We will take a short break before we come back for the second half of action. Thanks for joining us on ClutchSportsIL.com. And before we take a brief break, we want to remind you that tomorrow we will begin our coverage of the Big 12 boys basketball tournament. First with a matchup between Peoria High and Bloomington, and then with a matchup of Normal West and Champaign Centennial. So we hope you'll join us then, and we hope you'll join us for the second half. Coming up next on CSM. Welcome back inside Peoria Christian School. Larry Larson and John Camosa in with you for a matchup between ROWVA Williamsfield and Peoria Christian. John, it's the final game of the season for this very talented Peoria Christian squad. ROWVA Williamsfield has one more after this. That comes tomorrow, but in case you're just joining us for the second half, 2 words, Daniel Duncan.
Yeah, and it's definitely been Duncan putting on a show here early on. And Peoria Christian sitting in the driver's seat right now. This is what you would expect out of your team in a game like this, especially with the last game on the line. And we'd hope that they put on a good effort, and they've definitely showed that tonight so far.
Of course, in our pregame conversation with head coach Jason Persinger, he said that with no state series this year, they wanted to handle every game like a championship game. They've certainly done that tonight. If it were a championship game, it would be a large disappointment, that's for sure.
Yeah, and treating those games like that, that's a great mindset, going into an abbreviated year. I'm sure it's a little bit discouraging for some of the guys not having that postseason to reach ultimately, but it does add that, that value of, go out there and give it all each game, and Peoria Christian certainly showed that.
Of course, Christian features a number of seniors other than Daniel Duncan. Gavin Johnson, the junior, kicks to Duncan in the corner. He thought he had it, but it jack in the box is out. Haggerty at the S in the PCS, and Duncan gets tied up. He almost had the steal, and Malik was able to just hang on. And so the possession arrow keeps it with the Cougars. Here's Tucker, rocking the rec specs. Lots of guys with rec specs on the Cougars tonight. Always a fun look. White almost traveled. Nice no-look pass down low, and White gets the bucket and the foul.
Yeah, one player I always look back on thinking those type of glasses, Horace Grant, just comes right off the...
He set the standard.
Yep.
Set the standard of things to come. Rec spec power. White, the 5'11" sophomore, knocks in his free throw, and Bob Anderson told us before the game that Graham White has been such a nice surprise for the Cougars this year. He said some of the other players have played up to his standards and played to expectations, but they haven't surpassed them, and White has been the only one who has. And he's certainly showing us why tonight. He's in there for the board.
Yeah, and only a sophomore, so it's going to provide a nice spark for their team next year, going to be a junior. I think it's nice to have those up-and-coming players who can definitely make an impact.
We've seen a great amount of tenacity from him matching up with the 6'7" Wes Hunt. No easy task for the 5'11" White. No look pass to Hunt. Triple teamed in the post. Brigner snaps it through the twine.
I think as well-rounded as Peoria Christian is, they have the ability to have teams double off or triple off on them with Duncan and Hunt, but then you got so many other good shooters out there, and they can distribute passes and really get it done behind the arc.
White can't get it to go be above the tall tree, and the tall tree Hunt gets knocked down on the other end, and he can't finish himself. Haggerty turns it over. Daniel Duncan gets up and lays it in with his back to the bucket.
Wanted it there on that one.
He did. We wanted it too. Have we seen the last Daniel Duncan dunk?
I don't think so. I think there might be one more in store.
Ryan Haggerty surveys inside, tipped away by Gavin Johnson, but he can't hang on to it. Hake, Tilson, and Straub all check in for the Chargers as Hunt and company go to the bench. Duncan still in the ball game. It's triggered into Malik. Now to Adam Cole. Cole shifty on the dribble, goes baseline. The English on the layup isn't enough. How about the move by White? Another chance for Cole. In trouble, dribbles out of it. White uses his body to get some space. And he'll go back to the free throw line. So one thing he's been particularly good at tonight is drawing those fouls.
Yeah, ROWVA doing a good job of getting inside, creating that contact, and getting to the line. They're definitely not shying away from the bigger players down in the post.
Wide stance at the stripe. Knocks in the first. White into double figures. And the second of two. Maybe we threw him off that time. So quiet. Rebound goes to the Chargers. Duncan, the one-handed pass to Tilson. High rebound goes to White. Cole dances through the paint. Hake comes down with the board.
Peoria Christian trying to get back in rhythm here, and they've been shooting those threes. They want another couple to fall there.
Daniel Duncan, speaking of shifty on the dribble, nice dish down low and the friendly roll by Hake.
He's really good. His passing ability, too, is what's going to definitely take him to that next level, getting some Division II looks. And a well-rounded player like him with his size could do very well at the college level.
Certainly could. It's not all about scoring, especially at the next level. Scoring doesn't always translate. You see that as a struggle with some players, struggling to score at the college level in their freshman season. That's where, as a guard, passes come in. You want to be able to distribute. First free throw off by Malik. Carson Malik, the 5'11 junior, has 8 points. And can't cash in on either free throw. Eli Riker stops at the perimeter and slows it down. Now, John, if you're ROWVA Williamsfield, what do you got to do to get some sort of momentum and I would say possibly come back in this one, but it's going to be hard. Duncan, wow, why not?
That certainly doesn't help ROWVA. I think, like you said, Larry, probably getting a stop or two and forcing some turnovers, but when you're playing Peoria Christian, you almost got to trade buckets with them to hang around.
Duncan's season high, I want to say, is 32 points. There's the response from Parker Hopping. His first bucket of the night. So I think Duncan is on season high watch. We'll have to get our research department on that one. Double screen, and the tray dropped in by Tilson. He's getting hot.
Right after I said they got to find a rhythm and a flow behind the arc, they get it started right here.
Here's Daniel Duncan on the breakaway. Throws up the alley-oop to himself. And a timeout's taken by Jason Persinger as Duncan is up to 26 points.
That was a nice one. The assist from himself.
Yes.
Charge timeout to the Chargers.
I've never seen that one before in game action. Kind of a dunk contest like dunk. Slamming the ball in the paint and getting up for the finish. In case you're just joining us, it's been the Daniel Duncan Show. 26 points for the senior in his final game in the purple and gold. ROWVA Williamsfield playing its second to last game this season. Peoria Christian playing its final game this season with an 8-6 record, 4-1 in the conference. Their first season in the Inter-County Conference.
I think this is kind of the game we were expecting. Peoria Christian, once they really get going and not a lot of let up. And you know, if you're Bob Anderson, just try to cut into that deficit a little bit, but it's going to take a lot of work to do that.
Certainly is. Larry Larson, John Camosa in with you. Clutch Sports Media's coverage. A little small school action for you as their season begins to wrap up. We'll have conference tournament coverage for you all the rest of the week. Starting tomorrow in Bloomington Normal. We'll be at Normal Community High School to watch Peoria High take on Bloomington, as well as Champaign Centennial take on Normal West in first round action of the Big 12 Conference Tournament. We'll have Middle Illini action we anticipate on Friday as well as Saturday for the championship. So stay locked to ClutchSportsIL.com. Bookmark it on your browser.
Those were two teams that we got a chance to see this season. Bloomington, led by T.J. Barger, a standout golfer who just signed with Illinois.
Yes, making big headlines.
I think we talked about that on that broadcast when they played Manual. And big feat for Barger to find himself on a great golf team under Mike Small.
Of course, back when Illinois wasn't so great at basketball or football, people would joke, oh, Illinois is a golf school. Well, they're still a golf school, despite the Fighting Illini being ranked 3rd in the nation. Arguably co-Big Ten champions, some might say. Depends on who you ask. Graham White can't connect on either free throw. Luke Straub with the strong rebound. John, did you see Josh Whitman's open letter today to the Big Ten?
I did. I was actually giving that a read right before we came into this game.
Nice find and a nice finish by Ross Brigner. He's got 7 points, and for our viewers who aren't caught up on the Big Ten basketball scene, Michigan was given the outright Big Ten regular season title, despite the Illini having a just as good record. There's the transition miss, and Straub can't finish, but the Illini with a better winning percentage in more games than the Wolverines, or their winning percentage is just short of the Wolverines because they played more games. But Michigan did not play a full schedule, so Illinois was debating that they should get a piece of the pie in that title, but Big Ten not electing to give them that. You see 2 more points.
And Michigan coach Juwan Howard didn't really want any part in sharing that title.
I'm sure those teams will resolve that beef civilly. Maybe in the Final Four. We'll see.
Maybe in the Big Ten title.
Yes. Riker passes up the deep 3, and Tilson knocks in the shorter range 3 from the corner.
Tilson's really been dialed in tonight, too. Another player to watch for Peoria Christian.
John, one thing you got to be scared of if you're ROWVA Williamsfield here is the fact that in the 4th quarter, Peoria Christian scores at a markedly more efficient rate, than they do in the previous 3 quarters.
Yeah, and we already see him up to 70. He had a chance to
100 watch, maybe?
really set some numbers here.
Here's Riker in transition. He passes up the layup. And the Chargers will run the half-court set. John, knowing head coach Jason Persinger, I don't think we'll see 100 points.
No, I think he's going to play conservatively and not rub it in by any means, but get some underclassmen in there, too, and give them a chance to play some varsity time.
We see some underclassmen at the scoring table, and Jesse Hake, the 6'3" senior forward, can't cash in the layup there. But a look at that shooting percentage stat. In 12 games, and the stats that are posted on Max Preps, the Chargers shoot 49% in the 4th quarter compared to 34 in the 1st, 36 in the 2nd, and 36 in the 3rd. So my goodness, look out in the 4th quarter. They're a second-half team, I guess.
I think that's why in that IVC game, with 13 seconds left, had a chance to tie. Why they're so close in some of these big school games, as much as they score in that 4th quarter.
3 from the corner. Tilson is dialed in. He's got 15.
He's really putting on a show in his last game of the year.
Last game as a senior in the Chargers uniform. And that, Tilson's 3 that is the last bucket of quarter number 3. It's all Chargers in this one, folks. 73-34. Thanks for joining us tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. Larry Larson alongside John Camosa, Francisco Alonso on the tripod tonight. Stepping up for Jonathan Michael. Had to take a last-minute obligation with Bradley Soccer, as did Matt Harrington and Joey Wright. I'm surprised that we're not doing the broadcast for Bradley Soccer.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do, but we'll have the whole crew out tomorrow night in Bloomington Normal for the Big 12 boys basketball tournament, as well as Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's tournament week. It is indeed March, most exciting time of the year. And before we get into the Power 5 conference tournaments, we get the high school basketball conference tournaments.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I've mentioned so many times, even though we don't have that postseason feel as far as the actual state tournament, your regional sectionals, super sectionals, and state finals, you still got that winner go home. One loss and you're out. You know, you still get that playoff feel, and I think it's going to be an exciting week.
Teams get a little bit of closure with that, the teams that get the conference tournaments, but not all of them do, and these are two schools that don't get those conference tournaments. Skip pass is picked off by Jeremy Walton. 5'10" sophomore. We presume no relation to ESPN basketball analyst Bill Walton. We need to get Bill Walton on Clutch Sports Media broadcasts. Nice friendly roll from Carson Miller as the 6-foot senior gets on the board. You ever listen to a game Bill Walton does?
It'd be fun to call a game with Bill Walton, see him in those Pac-12 games that he calls, and when he's in the Maui Invitational. Certainly be a treat.
A treat is always when Benetti, Jason Benetti that is, college basketball broadcaster. How about the English on that shot from Malik? Almost got it wedgied after he spun it on the rim. But no dice. Whenever Jason Benetti and Bill Walton get together, it's something special. Dish inside. Cole can't handle the pass. Gets this shot up. Volleyball match down low. Falls into the hands of Luke Straub. I imagine if we had Bill Walton on the broadcast here, he'd start talking about something crazy. John, you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
Yep, just sidetracking anything but the game that's going on in front of him.
So I posed the question, have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I have not. It'd be fun to do.
Any national parks?
Nope, I have not.
You're missing out.
I've been in a lot of high school gyms, though.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
We need to come up with some sort of Central Illinois basketball gym passport.
Yeah.
I know there's a national parks passport. I keep that and stamp it whenever I check into a national park around this great nation. But our Francisco Alonso, he's making his first trip to an Illinois high school basketball gym, so he needs to keep track of how many he's been to. This is my first trip to Peoria Christian, far from yours.
Graduated in 2010, so I've walked these halls quite a bit. Wasn't on the basketball court, though.
I was going to say.
Played baseball.
We're up here by the batting cage, the second deck of the gym. I'm sure you spent a lot of time in there.
That and ran these stairs plenty of times in practice. We did a lot of running.
I'm sure you were some threat on the base paths.
I think I sped up more so after high school. It was a little slower then.
Looks like we've got some sort of foul.
I think so, a little stoppage. Yep.
And it's our mask timeout. I think everybody kind of forgot about the mask timeout there, but in a blowout, no less, we still take them with 4 minutes and 36 seconds remaining. Peoria Christian, the Chargers, not screwing around in their last game of the season, up 75-36.
Yeah, and with some reserves being in this final 4 minutes, we talked about Daniel Duncan. And if that was, in fact, the last dunk of his high school career, it was a nice one.
It was a good one. Cherry on top of a nice Peoria Christian career. In case you're just joining us, he, with his second shot of the game, which was a 3 from the corner, joined the top 5 on the all-time scoring lists in Chargers history. Charging through the record books, so to speak.
And a lot of that, adding to that scoring, came from last year, really productive for Peoria Christian, getting them to that sectional title. And there wasn't a game that he wasn't scoring in double figures.
Yeah. That regional title game he put on a show, I want to say he scored up near 25, 30 points in that one. An overtime victory. We may see him for a few minutes at the end of this one. Coach Persinger telling us about his senior's character for the game. He said, you know, he's just as good off the court as he is on the court. And he said, I recognize that's cliche, but he really is. And he's invested a lot. And these younger guys that we're seeing on the floor right now. Stolen away by Ryan Haggerty, senior guard. He takes it up with 11 points. Now it's Adam Cole looking to get on the board.
Yeah, these guys were really productive when we got here for the JV game and talked with Coach Aaron Tolson for that game. They're 11-1 after tonight's win over ROWVA in the JV game. So a lot of talent coming up on the varsity level.
Yeah, you could say the cavalry's coming for these Chargers. They've got a good 8th grade program as well. Coach Persinger told us before the game, so we shall see. Another thing with that scheduling that we've talked about throughout the broadcast, that's garnered them some respect in the city as we're now into running clock territory. They've played some really good teams. They played PND last year, playing Middle Illini schools, and he said that when he came in, he wouldn't dare schedule a Middle Illini school, but now he's comfortable with it, and they can give him a run for the money as Fisher runs to the basket and lays it in.
Yeah, and they showed that in those couple of games, and I think that speaks volumes of where his team's at. And I think it's going to be exciting going into next year to see how some of these guys can develop even more.
Isaac Gonzalez gets on the board. Nice fadeaway shot. Isawumi passes up the 3, and now Fisher will take it. In and out. Walton with the board. Nice cut and score by Straub.
Really nice look there, and great take. We've seen a lot of quick cuts tonight.
There's a 3, and it's down for Miller. Miller has all 5 of his points here in this closing stanza.
I think this is the lineup we'll probably see here to close the game.
Yes, indeed. So we have seen the last of Daniel Duncan and his career at Peoria Christian. So we see a little funky jump ball. Luke Straub tried to get the shot off, but looked like he almost got the shot off after he hit the ground. But no less, it goes the other way.
And Larry, you touched on this being their second to the last game for ROWVA, and you can obviously pick up and learn some things from this game and see what you have to improve on going into their season finale.
So the Chargers will finish the season at 9-6, 5-1 in the conference, and ROWVA Williamsfield will fall to 4-10. Gonzalez jumper is off. Board by Isawumi, and Fisher will walk it up as we've got 60 seconds remaining in this one. Thanks for joining us tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. We hope that we've provided a little Tuesday night entertainment for you. If we haven't, Daniel Duncan sure has. He's our player of the game tonight with 26 points. Not on the floor right now, but on the bench, taking this one in for the final time inside the Peoria Christian School gym. Lewis Sams drives baseline. He's pickpocketed by Fisher. Fisher weaves through traffic, the no-look pass, unselfish play, as Straub thought about the 3. And now the Chargers will go into the 4 corners, as close as you get to victory formation in IHSA basketball, as Peoria Christian gets the ovation from the home crowd as they finish off their season with a big victory over ROWVA Williamsfield and finish 9-6. John Camosa, the Chargers didn't horse around in this one.
No, it was a good way to end the season. A lot of different guys in the scoring column, led by Daniel Duncan. Seeing some nice threes out of Peyton Tilson tonight. Wes Hunt was very productive down low, and certainly a good game for Peoria Christian to end the season on. Got to be happy if you're Coach Persinger.
As the squad gets a standing ovation now from the crowd as they head to the locker room victorious. Again, the final, it's ROWVA Williamsfield 41 and the host, Peoria Christian Chargers 79. John, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think a lot of the things we saw tonight is going to carry over into next year. I think a lot of guys, stepped up being underclassmen as well. But nice showing out of the seniors tonight with Peyton Tilson and Daniel Duncan, and what we would kind of expect, coming into tonight's game. And it was a good one for the Chargers and good send out for Daniel Duncan.
Duncan with 26, Tilson with 15, and senior Straub as well with 2. Eli Riker also picked up 4 points, and sounds like the seniors are going to come back out onto the floor for a post-game senior night celebration. That's certainly not the norm, but you see a whole group of seniors that has really defined the last few years of Peoria Christian basketball. Looks like head coach Jason Persinger is going to say a few words about this group, and he told us before the game it's going to be a little emotional. I'm sure it is, because a lot of those guys have led the way for this Chargers program, and I think you can see he's already getting a little emotional. But, John, this is where we're going to leave it tonight from Peoria Christian School. Thanks for joining us tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. The Chargers pick up a 79-41 victory over ROWVA Williamsfield to cap off the season. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you tomorrow night from Normal Community High School for the Big 12 Boys Basketball Tournament. So long, everybody.